In a move that sent shockwaves through the international community, former U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled a controversial plan for the Gaza Strip. The proposal centered around the resettlement of 2 million Palestinian residents from Gaza to neighboring countries.
This is a bold vision for the future of Gaza. We aim to create improved housing and permanent communities for displaced Palestinians. However, this comes with a significant caveat. Palestinians must relinquish their right to return to Gaza.
This controversial stipulation immediately ignited debate and fueled existing tensions in the region. Supporters, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, hailed it as a revolutionary step towards achieving peace and stability in the region. However, critics were quick to denounce the plan, arguing that it disregarded international law and undermined Palestinian self-determination. The Palestinian Authority, along with Hamas, vehemently rejected the proposal, asserting that Palestinian land was not for sale. The international community also expressed concerns, with the UN emphasizing that forced displacement constituted a violation of international law. The plan's legacy continues to be debated, its long-term implications yet to be fully understood. The international community's response to Trump's Gaza plan was sharply divided, reflecting the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Condemnation was swift and widespread, with many countries and international organizations denouncing the plan as illegal and impractical.
The United Nations reiterated its stance that the forced displacement of populations constituted a grave violation of international law. We call for a just and lasting solution that respects the rights and aspirations of all parties involved.
Despite widespread condemnation, Trump's plan garnered some support, primarily from Israel and a handful of regional actors. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the proposal, viewing it as an opportunity to advance Israeli interests and security concerns.
This plan offers a pragmatic path towards a more stable and prosperous future for both Israelis and Palestinians.
However, even among those who expressed a degree of support, there were reservations and calls for caution. The international community's reaction underscored the challenges of finding a resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Trump's Gaza plan immediately sparked intense debate, with critics raising a number of ethical and practical concerns. At the forefront was the plan's core premise, the mass resettlement of 2 million Palestinians.
The plan's disregard for the Palestinian right of return is a major point of contention. The right of return, enshrined in UN Resolution 194, has been a cornerstone of Palestinian demands for decades.
Trump's plan, by explicitly denying this right, was seen by many as a non-starter. Critics argued that it ignored the historical and emotional weight of the issue for Palestinians and undermined the possibility of a just and lasting peace. Beyond the ethical considerations, the plan's practicality was also called into question. Critics pointed to the logistical complexities and exorbitant costs associated with resettling such a large population. Central to Trump's Gaza plan was the vision of a transformed and prosperous Gaza Strip. The plan proposed a massive redevelopment project, funded by the United States, which would see Gaza transformed into a modern and thriving hub.
I envision a Gaza with state-of-the-art infrastructure, a thriving economy, and a high standard of living for its residents. This is a win-win scenario for both Palestinians and Israelis.
Proponents argued that the economic opportunities generated by the redevelopment project would provide Palestinians with a brighter future. However, the plan's critics remained skeptical, pointing to the lack of Palestinian buy-in and the disregard for international law. They argued that the promise of economic prosperity rang hollow in the face of the plan's fundamental flaws. For Palestinians, Trump's Gaza plan was met with a mixture of anger, frustration, and a deep sense of betrayal. The plan was widely seen as an attempt to liquidate their cause and deny them their fundamental rights, particularly the right of return.
The issue of the right of return is deeply intertwined with Palestinian identity and the collective memory of displacement. For generations, Palestinian refugees and their descendants have clung to the hope of one day returning to their ancestral homes.
Palestinian leaders from across the political spectrum were united in their condemnation of the plan, denouncing it as a non-starter and a violation of international law. The plan's unveiling sparked protests in the West Bank and Gaza, as Palestinians took to the streets to express their outrage. The plan's perceived bias towards Israel further fueled suspicions about the Trump administration's role as a mediator in the conflict. The unveiling of Trump's Gaza plan marked a turning point in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but its long-term implications remain uncertain. The plan's failure to gain traction due to widespread opposition and a lack of international support highlights the enduring challenges to achieving a just and lasting peace in the region. The plan's legacy is likely to be one of heightened tensions and mistrust. Its disregard for international law and Palestinian rights has set a dangerous precedent. The international community's commitment to a two-state solution remains the most viable path to peace. The quest for peace in the Middle East requires a renewed commitment from all stakeholders to engage in meaningful dialogue and uphold the principles of international law and human rights.